Can I just return to the issue of the borders? Under the proposal for the facilitated customs agreement, are you still proposing that EU countries will not have to collect any additional or different tariffs for the UK?
No, if you look at the concept of reciprocity is in the white paper.
Yes, but
the
in a way
concept
that's
of
ruled
reciprocity
out.
is in the white paper. What we are proposing is that there would be, what we propose in the white paper is a formula arrangement, so that there would be a formula agreement for the sums of money that would be collected by the UK for those goods that were coming not just to the UK but into the European Union through the UK, and a sum of money that would be related to those goods that would enter the European Union destined for the United Kingdom.
Okay, it sounds really complicated. Just start with what happens
It's
at the
not
border.
formula agreements are things that are involved, exist
just
elsewhere.
Just start with what's happening at the border first. At our border, we will collect EU tariffs for goods that are heading to the EU. Will we or won't we expect EU countries to collect our tariffs on goods that are destined to the UK?
What we have put in the white paper, what we expect is that EU countries, we say EU countries, in fact the way the EU does this is not necessarily through the individual countries in terms of the way the payments are made, but that the sums of money that would be relevant for goods that are entering the European Union destined for the United Kingdom would be paid to the UK.
But if
so
we
there
have
would be a
different
reciprocity in payments.
Okay, but if we have different levels of tariffs, it says very clearly, at least I thought it was clear, in page 17, however, the UK is not proposing that the EU applies the UK's tariffs and trade policy at its border for goods intended for the UK. Is that still the case?
What we are proposing, but as you will see in that paragraph, earlier in that paragraph, the UK proposes a tariff revenue formula taking account of goods destined for the UK entering via the EU and goods destined for the EU entering via the United Kingdom. The important thing here is there is reciprocity in the sums of money that would be paid. So what we're saying is a good would not enter the European Union destined for the UK without the European Union being expected, or through the arrangement, money to be recognised as being due to the UK as a result of that.
So suppose we have different levels of tariffs. Let's suppose we have lower tariffs on goods coming from the US and Europe has lower tariffs on goods coming from New Zealand, for example. We would then collect the higher EU tariffs on the goods coming from the US when they came in through Liverpool or through wherever. Would we expect goods coming into the EU from New Zealand, would we expect the EU to collect higher tariffs for us, or would we expect them to apply their own EU tariffs at the border?
What I'm saying and what the paragraph says is that this is not a question of somebody physically handing cash over at the border. The way we would deal with this would be a formula revenue agreement between the European Union and the United Kingdom, which would reflect that goods, what was required for goods that were entering the European Union destined for the UK, just as it would, the money relevant to the EU would reflect goods coming in to the United Kingdom and destined for the European Union.
But a payment's still got to be made somewhere. So if these goods are coming in from New Zealand and they're arriving at a port in Italy, for example, or in Spain or somewhere, and we've got a higher tariff on those goods from New Zealand, where is that higher tariff paid? Is it paid when the goods arrive in Spain or in Italy, or is it not paid when the goods arrive in Spain or in Italy?
There will be, as I say, there will be a formula agreement with the European Union in terms of the sums of money.
I'm interested in the business, the importer. When do they pay?
Importers will be under a requirement to ensure that they have paid the correct tariffs.
To Spain or to Italy?
What matters is what money comes to the United Kingdom.
I know, I just don't know how we're going to guess it if they haven't paid the extra money.
Well, there's two elements. I've said to this, with having tariff revenue formula, an agreement with the European Union which relates to the sums of money that are due from one side to the other in the movement of goods. Now,
but the formula only applies to what happens between the governments.
Yes,
what happens? When's this importer going to pay the extra money? Are they going to pay the extra money when the goods arrive in Spain or Italy, or are we going to have to charge them when those goods get transferred across from Spain across to the UK? How are we going to make sure that the importer pays the fair tariffs?
Well, we are. First of all, there is going to be a requirement on businesses to ensure that they are paying the correct tariffs. But that, I think what I'm saying is that the overall concern from the United Kingdom is surely to ensure that the arrangement we have with the European Union is relevant to and reflects the flow of goods between both, the nature of tariffs that are relevant in relation to goods coming from different places, and that money is therefore able to be exchanged between the two in relevant sums between the two. But you can't exchange money that's not been paid.
So I still don't understand. The importer, when are they paying the extra tariffs? If we've got different tariffs in the UK compared to the EU, because that, as I understand it, is what you want to happen. You want us to be outside the common external tariff. You want us to have different tariffs to the rest of the EU. If we have those different tariffs, where's the money going to be paid?
What matters to us in terms of having, first of all, one of the reasons for being able to have different tariffs is actually being able to lower your tariffs so that you can encourage trade around the world. So you're rather assuming that there's going to be certain circumstances in which the United Kingdom is going to say, well, actually, we're going to charge higher tariffs than the European Union is charging. What matters is that we have an agreement such that for goods that are crossing the border, the money that is paid between the European Union and the United Kingdom reflects those goods. Now, obviously, this is part of the proposal that we're putting forward to the European Union, and there will be elements of this that we will be discussing with them and negotiating in terms of exactly how that tariff revenue agreement would be entered into.
But here's the problem. So I'm really baffled as to what's going to happen and how these differential tariffs are going to work. I'm even more baffled because we've still got this statement in the white paper which says that we're not going to have the EU applying the UK's tariffs and trade policies at the border, but you accepted an amendment, the new clause 36, yesterday, 2 days ago, which requires this reciprocity, and the government will account to HMRC for those duties and taxes collected in that country on a reciprocal basis. So we don't have reciprocal arrangements, whether it's at our border in Liverpool or at the border in Spain and Italy. And isn't the problem that the reason we seem to be going round in circles on this is because don't you have a problem that you're just actually not being straight about the language and about what it is you're actually proposing? And so everybody's confused, and as a result, nobody trusts what the government is doing.
I've been very straight about the language. I've been very straight about what they're not just straight in saying it, but it's published in the white paper. What we are proposing is a reciprocal agreement with the European Union in relation to the exchange of tariffs that are paid on external borders for goods entering the United Kingdom destined for the EU and for goods entering the European Union destined for the United Kingdom.
And you hope this is going to be in place and working by 2021?
Good luck.
Did you want to answer?
Well, I answered the question about from our point of view, the future customs arrangement will indeed, the arrangement, the facilitated customs agreement, will indeed be, we're aiming to negotiate for that to be.
It really is.
Sorry?
It is baffling.
We're going to move
I'm
on
not
now
sure what is baffling about us exchanging sums of money that are relevant to both parties, but there we are.